In addition to the huge library of free SVG files that you get on the Inkscape homepage, Microsoft has a library of what it calls WMF files. And WMF just stands for Windows Meta File. It works in exactly the same way as an SVG. So to get to this library, you just type Office Clipart into a Google search, hit enter, and just follow the first link. It's this Microsoft one. And here, of course, you just search for whatever you want. So we can search, for example, for a tiger. And just hit search. Then your results are going to come up. Now, generally speaking, anything which is a photograph like this is going to be a JPEG. And that's because when you're working with a JPEG, you have a lot of these fuzzy edges that give you all this kind of fur detail and these soft kind of gradients. And vector-based graphics really can't handle that. So you actually want a pixel-based JPEG. However, anything that looks like this, so for example, you can see that it's like a cartoon type image. When you click download, you're going to see that it's a WMF. And downloading these files from Microsoft works in the normal way. You don't have to save this web page. And you just click OK and save it wherever you want to. I've already actually saved a copy of this as tiger.wmf, so I'll just save over that. And now I have the file saved to my hard disk. So if I now go into this folder, you can see here we have tiger.wmf. And one thing you want to note when you start opening these files, you can open it directly in GIMP, just like an SVG file. And you can right-click it and get this Edit with GIMP option, or you can just drag it into an empty GIMP window like this. One limitation though, and this is where there's a difference between a WMF and an SVG. If we take this into GIMP, we can still choose the size that we want. So this is millimeters. At the moment it's only 50. If we change this to 1000, so we're increasing it by 20 times, and click OK. The detail on our file looks absolutely perfect, but the one unfortunate issue you have is that you don't get the transparent background. So when you brought them in from Inkscape with an SVG format, you get all the transparency. So a better way to work here is to actually first take an image like this and open it in Inkscape. Now when you right click an SVG, it's immediately going to say Inkscape. That doesn't happen with a WMF. So what you've got to do is you've got to open Inkscape and just make sure you have a file and then a new document open. Now what I can do is just drag a WMF file into Inkscape. And there it is. And at this stage, it doesn't really matter what size this tiger is. I could increase the size and then export it. But as we'll see now, that doesn't really matter. Now what I can do is go File, Save As. Incidentally, the only thing you want to make sure of is that the whole image fits inside this canvas. If you now go File, Save As, and just save this as an SVG. So we'll go Tiger. I now have both a WMF and SVG format of this file. If I now take this SVG file of the tiger into GIMP, we can go through the exact same process. Click OK. Here you see that you actually get the transparency. So we can really zoom in here. And you might not have noticed this in the previous version, but you actually get much better edges as well. They have this sort of soft drop-off. But the main thing is that you get this transparency, and so that's going to save you a lot of time.